intro. Ready to go.
I got qualms with the internet, man. I don't know if I'm going to be able to phrase this right. I've been thinking about a tweet, and tweets are hard even though they're longer now. There's a thing, I was just talking to shout out to our man Phil out there. I was talking to Phil about like the new generation of fitness. And now I'm the old guy talking shit, but it is just what it is. There was like all sports and all media, celebrity, everything goes through changes and chapters, right? A lot of times, at least maybe it's, I don't know if it's how I was raised or because I like sports, you just always kind of nod your head at who blazed the trail for you, right? Like LeBron showed love to Jordan, Jordan showed love to Larry Bird, whatever, right? And that's kind of baked into most cultures, I feel like. I think because of COVID and during COVID, TikTok just exploded. Like, it was obviously a thing, but it just exploded. In particular, fitness TikTok exploded.
Yeah.
Which is on a whole new other side of things from the YouTube, Instagram world, where even in like earlier days, 2011 to 2016, there was crossover, but YouTube and Instagram were different fitness worlds. Mostly just because YouTube maybe was more difficult or more time consuming, so the amount of guys and gals that were on YouTube as like a career or had a voice were less, right? It's just harder to do, let alone podcast.
Yeah.
But podcast was different, I feel like, just because there was any successful fitness podcast at that time was so varied from each other. The crossovers were maybe harder.
Yeah.
You know, like when we were back in like the top 10 on fitness podcasts, all those people, like I knew their names and faces, but they were so unrelated to the fitness world we came from.
Correct. Yeah. It's like they were from a multiverse.
Yeah, it was like
a fitness multiverse.
Yeah, it was like health podcast.
Yeah.
Sure, we all fit into that category, but as soon as you like brought a barbell, there's only Barbell Shrugged. There's only like two of us that used a barbell, and then there was like no bodybuilding. It was a more like holistic-y.
And your what's her name? Who was
Jillian Michaels,
Jillian Michaels,
right? Which is very pop health.
Yeah.
And then yeah, whatever. The point is that it was just too varied to build like a tight niche.
Right.
Where like Guzman and Max Tuning and obviously Bart and Omar, we all became homies because it was all, we all fit together enough.
Mm-hmm.
Not only age-wise, but what we were into on YouTube. So most of these things, again, in my idea, like the basketball reference is like the big book of the NBA, and then, you know, the 80s was a chapter and the 90s was a chapter, and the 2Ks with Kobe and Kevin Garnett were a chapter, et cetera,
right.
et cetera. Something different with the fitness community, the social media fitness community, or the online fitness community. With COVID, I feel like it almost like closed a book and started writing a new book. And Phil brought it up, and he was just being incredibly nice, saying like, dude, you and Bart like did all this stuff for fitness. Like, you guys are, you know, like icons in the space. And I'm like, dude, I'm not. Like, no one has a clue what we do or where we are, because that book just like closed and like disappeared. Like, even Guzman, and Guzman's still killing it business-wise, and even his YouTube does okay. Like, people know Alphalete. People don't always know Christian Guzman, the YouTuber.
Right.
And some people might know the lore now because they, you know, they wear the clothes or whatever, but it's just so different. Sebum, you know, not that he wasn't around, but he wasn't making content pre-2020 like he is now, at least. You know, like all these guys are just a whole new generation. And that's all a side note for me to talk shit on you all. What it seems like, and not all of you out there, all you youngins, but it seems like there's a huge core of like 20-year-old fitness content creators, or they might want to call themselves influencers, or you call yourself whatever the fuck you want, kind of like reaching for subjects to talk about that clearly they're not living, that it's not their truth, and also they're reaching for that's way outside of their expertise, not only in life but within the topic. Where in the beginning we would just share what we knew and share what we did, and it was easy.
Yeah.
I didn't have to really think about like, man, am I outside of my bubble here? Or like, am I reaching? And one of the main topics that I feel like a lot of these people talk about is like sustainability. They talk about the fitness lifestyle. They talk about, you know, living this thing, et cetera, et cetera. And then every other week I see them all like, and not that I've been perfect by any means, but like I do live the lifestyle. There was one session of my life in 2020 when I didn't lift, and that was it. I've lifted a weight every week since I was 14 years old in 8th grade. Every single week. And I don't have to post about it, right? More than half of that I wasn't posting about. I haven't posted in fucking 3 weeks now. I didn't post in high school. Obviously, there was nothing to post on.
Yeah.
And they're still preaching this holistic, healthy, moderation, sustainability, and they'll go on like 3-year hiatuses. I'm like, bro, you've been lifting for a year to begin with. You're fucking 22. Like, life isn't hard yet. You're doing nothing. You're probably paying, daddy's probably paying the bills. And now you're going on this, I can't lift, I can't do it. And then you're coming back, and then you're disappearing. And it's at least over 20 of these people I've seen do it. It's not like it's just one I'm picking on. That's why I feel fine talking shit publicly, because there's so goddamn many of them.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind that you're trying to preach this, oh, yeah, I live the lifestyle, this and that and this and that. And then every other month, you just disappear. Whether it's from the internet, which you've only done for 2 years now, or it's from lifting, which you've only done for 3 years now. And, like, how are you supposed to be, like, an expert in a situation, an expert on a topic, and then disappear?
That's a good question. I think this could be mildly controversial, but I feel like the whole phenomenon of people selling coaching, selling supplements, selling whatever the fuck they're selling with either they're on steroids and won't admit it, or they're photoshopping
For sure.
their pictures, or both.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same, like, fight for relevance that you're talking about. Even if they're stepping away, when they come back, they're very thirsty for relevance.
Yeah. I wonder if it's all just money driven, because you saw from
probably so, because
right?
I think
you saw from 2012 to 2017 people getting rich and popular.
Yeah.
And so then people are like, oh, fitness is a way to get rich and popular. So they hop in. But if your heart's not in it, or you haven't actually built the skills to have that lifestyle,
Yeah.
right, then you're not actually about it. Now you're just chasing a dollar, which is, I think, can drive some people. There's a percentage of people that it can be so driven by money to be successful, but I think most people, it's going to wear out.
Yeah, and I think that the business of fitness, like the traditional business of fitness, is, owning gyms, creating and selling equipment, creating and selling diet plans, workout plans, and then apparel on top of that.
Yeah, supplements.
Yeah, but the really traditional is basically owning a gym. And there isn't anything about lifting weights that prepares you for opening a gym.
No, there's
There's
nothing
not
about,
a single thing about it.
Yeah, lifting weights may only have an aspect of coaching in it. That may teach you something. But, yeah, running any kind of real business has nothing to do with it. Besides, like, maybe foundational things, philosophically.
Yeah, but
showing up, being consistent.
But the mechanics of it, the real mechanics of it, just don't jibe with any of that stuff. In the same way that being an influencer, or trying to be an influencer, going through all the steps that, whatever the conventional wisdom is at the moment about how to become a successful influencer, don't have any bearing on the mechanics of running a business out of that, or knowing with any certainty about how to monetize it, I guess.
Yeah, I think monetizing is a little easier now because there's paths built out. Like, there's a lot more managers, and sponsorships are like an understood thing. But if you want to make it sustainable business of any nature, yeah, it's left field compared to deadlifting or whatever the fuck you think you're doing. But again, they don't even do it long enough to know.
No, because they're searching for what to do.
Which is semi-counter to the article of the day.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. Like, yeah, I just don't get it. And I see it literally weekly. I'll see someone's story or Instagram post, like, saying they're coming back, and I didn't even know they left. And then, like, man, I haven't lifted weights in a year. Now I'm going to go do this and that. And some of it is, like, exercise ADHD, which I get too, man. Like, my lifting sessions change, like, sometimes they're hour sessions. Right now they're about half an hour lifting, half an hour cardio, like, I understand that. But the point is, I'm touching a barbell or a weight every day. And, like, I still live that lifestyle. I'm still getting my protein in. Like, that, none of that just disappears depending on my mood.
Yeah.
And that's, like, again, they're preaching this discipline. They're preaching this consistency and like the core foundations of what I do every day stay the same regardless. And I'm not competing. I haven't competed since like 2018, 2019. It has nothing to do with that. But the only way they can do it is for content, which is like a thing, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, the article we're going to dive into a little bit is about Gen Z in particular, how the data shows, at least with commercial gyms, and I think they reference Planet Fitness the most just because that's probably the cheapest gym out there and then probably the gym that they can get the most data on, showing that particularly since COVID, it seems, the amount of people that show up to the gym has nearly doubled. I don't know the exact percentage, but I think the check-ins for Gen Zs went from like 20% to like 39%, 38%. Again, no quote me.
This is an article from Fortune.
Yeah, and there's a couple. I read one from Business Insider. I've seen some articles on Instagram on it floating about. And the article on Business Insider is interesting because they're talking a little bit about the obesity epidemic and other things in America and how that divide might be getting bigger, right? Because like it's not the unhealthy people all of a sudden going to the gym. It's just like the gym goers are getting more extreme, like more fit, and the other side's getting less fit, which is probably true. But two, they talk about it from like a business standpoint where 95% of gyms' business model is built on the fact that you won't show up, right? They want
they don't build capacity
or maintenance
for everyone to show for everyone to show up,
right? Like not only like pure logistics, if all their members decided to do a deadlift day together, they'd be fucked. But on top of that, like maintenance is based on use, and that costs money, and so they plan on their shit never getting used. And they don't have to spend any money because they have 10,000 memberships and maybe 200 show up in a week.
And that's why like a lot of Globo gyms have a reputation for not being very clean
for sure
these days because more people are showing up and using the facilities, and the budgeting was based on a much lower attendance.
And if you've ever been to like a commercial gym like that, or commie gym as the kids say by Gen Zers, you ever been to a commie gym?
Commie means something
they
different,
don't know
folks.
that. They don't know that. They don't know that. Yeah, they don't know that. They got the sickle flag in the corner. You go to the commie gym.
Right over the toilet.
Yeah. And they and you go to one that is busy, which is I've been to tons, like growing up in the suburbs, all we had was commie gyms, and so there'd be multiple literally two prominent chains had two separate gyms, so 4 locations within a mile of my house.
Yeah.
So I visited them all, and obviously some were busier than the others. In downtown here, we have similar. The busy ones do have machines out of commission for fucking weeks on weeks, months on months, because they weren't prepped
to deal with that.
They don't have the extra equipment to fix it. They don't have the extra service mechanics to fix it, et cetera, et cetera. That's something like, luckily we plan for early. We have quarterly servicing to check in, check the oil on all our shit. And then also, we opened a gym because we want members to use it. Like there's just no sustainability in that business model, although these corporate fucks have figured out a way to make it tons of money. It just sucks because like baseline business works well when the consumer gets what they paid for. That's just right.
Yeah.
You go to the grocery store, you're hungry, you buy something, you buy food, you eat it, and now you're not hungry. Like mission accomplished. You're going to go back to that grocery store because it did what you wanted. You buy a gym membership, you go, you should get stronger and fitter and healthier, and you should feel better over time. And then you would continue to go to that gym, right? We're just fucking Pavlov or whatever, the dog drool into the bell. Like it's that simple. But for some reason, the gym business model is the only one I know. The only other one I could think about, I was thinking about business models that are like fucked in the head. The only other one was like Blockbuster and Hollywood and shit, where I heard they made 80% of their money on late fees, which isn't the exact same of fucked, but they're not making money based on the service they're giving you.
They're making money off of the penalties.
Yeah, on human nature to be a day late, which is all fine and dandy. It's not quite the same, but gyms are the only one that built a business model so you lose, and somehow they're still winning.
Well, yeah, they're not winning like they used to, but
I don't know. You mean like Planet Fitness in them?
yeah. Well, 24, and like a common complaint you hear is that gyms keep cutting hours.
Yeah, for sure. But is that messing with their actual dollar? I think they're still winning.
It may or may not be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know they had to close some during COVID, at least in California, obviously.
I mean, it lets them have less staffing. That's the from a not that doesn't necessarily directly affect membership, but it does affect bottom line.
Yeah. No, I bet you their bottom line's doing just fine now. I bet you they stabilized pretty good. And they're not even that big of a chain, really, compared to a Planet Fitness or a Crunch or something. Like, I don't think they're on the East Coast, really.
What, 24?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of Equinox on the 20.
Yeah.
On the,
when they're based out of here.
LA Fitness.
24 came from the Bay.
Yeah.
So,
is LA Fitness still a thing?
LA?
LA Fitness, is it still a thing?
I think it is on the East Coast. We've never had one up here. And then they might have changed names because all these
that was my question.
Yeah, we had a chain up here called California Family Fitness, which was that was the gym I grew up in, like a family-ish 24-hour, and it was cool. In the 90s, it was fucking awesome. And then that got bought by InShape, which I think is a huge national chain.
Changing all the names now.
Yeah, and probably the color schemes and who knows what.
There's Anytime Fitness, which is
Anytime's pretty big, but I think Crunch,
relatively unstaffed.
Yeah, I think Crunch, and then there's EOS is pretty big, at least Midwest and West. There's I forgot the name. So when I visited family in Cleveland, I was visiting all the gyms, and there was a big chain out there that was kind of like their 24.
Bally's?
No, Bally's is pretty big. But it was a little bit more budgety, but it was actually really nice for the budgety. It was like Planet Fitness cost, but had like really good equipment, a shit ton of equipment. It was kind of like just in the middle of an outdoor mall. Like, it was nice. I forgot the name, but so there's obviously tons of options. I think they all are making money, but I wonder what made Gen Z like the gym. I wonder if it is purely the internet influence.
Oh, you mean
why the percent's way?
Yeah, this article is really about like people attending more.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe so. And like social circle here at the gym, there's definitely like a social circle.
Yeah.
That people got to show up for.
But I think that's the important part. That's why I like mom and pop gyms, right? Like, that's what keeps you coming, because everyone's going to have an off day where they'd rather go to McDonald's than go to the gym. But if you're meeting your buddies every day, and that's why CrossFit succeeded, right? Because you had a class, and then you had a community, and every day you had to show up at 5 p.m. because John, Sally, and Jimmy are going to be there. I think that's cool. I think those are like safety nets in your discipline. Because no one's perfect.
Yeah, but it's also a little bit of a safety net for the gym itself, because
for sure.
Yeah, because you got to show up, and to show up you have to have paid your dues, right?
For sure.
Literally you pay your dues. There's like, you can't get in.
Yeah.
Or you can't stay in.
I know there was another thing the government was looking at, and I think they mentioned gyms in the article, but they were looking at all these like random fees companies would add and shit, and they were trying to make that illegal. Which is another way.
Fees, bonus fees,
which is another way gyms make a killing. I remember when I first started working at a commercial gym, and like kind of the Wizard of Oz veil was like taken out from my eyes, when they explained to me how to sell a membership and how it's just a sliding scale of upfront cost and monthly cost.
Yeah.
And I could pitch it to however I wanted, but as long as we got X amount. And they're like, yeah, and then April we have a $30 cleaning fee. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that made sense at first. But then I worked there for 3 years, and I cleaned every day. It's not like we bought, like, a carpet cleaner for April, because that would make sense. Like, oh, actually, we're going to hire, like, a super detailed guy in April or something. No, it was just another fee for them to snag, and then this fee to snag, and that fee to snag. And I'm like, geez,
you're giving me ideas.
And people are still doing it. No, I mean, I've had all these ideas, but it just sucks for the member. And what sucks is, like, people still say yes to it.
Yeah.
And then if you add up all the money, then it makes us look bad. Like, at 3rd Street, we have no fees, no contracts, no sign-up, no exit fee. We have nothing. And these other companies, if you add all this shit together, but our price point is higher. We're an elevated, mom and pop gym. But then you go to any other gym, like even 24, and it's $150 to sign up, $50 a month after that. There's 2 fees randomly. There's a contract fee, a renewal fee. There's the cleaning fee, and you even average all that out, and they're probably $70 a month. And you're like, well, none of that makes sense either. Like, it's just all trash, but people fall for it.
Right, because the price point in front of them when they sign up is just the monthly fee.
Well, and it's all you know.
Yeah,
right?
and
if you're just a random person and you don't watch YouTube, you don't watch TikTok, you don't watch anything, all you think of is, oh well, Crunch Fitness. They're running the commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Planet Fitness. It's right next to the Whole Foods I go to. Like all of it's just convenient for them.
Yeah, so I think that the regulations that they were trying to, or laws or whatever that they're trying to put in place, I think both the state and federal level had to do with surprise fees, hidden fees, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where
Which is trash.
It has to be, it has to be an all-in-one.
Yeah. Yeah, just be transparent about what I'm about to pay for.
And ours is all-in-one. And so I think that, like, you have to, because people are not used to it, you have to explain it.
Right.
You have to say there isn't anything extra and there isn't anything, coming down the pike for you. And,
And same with that article. The first thing I read, I was like, the Business Insider one is about how Planet Fitness, attendance is way up and like, what are they going to do or how are they going to handle it? I'm like, dude, that's our goal. Like my goal, and maybe it's my, shit morals here, but like if I get a member, I want the member to show up and have a good time, even from a pure business point. Say I don't care about humanity. From a pure dollar point, my brain works like this. You sign up for this gym, you get stronger, get fit, make a friend, you enjoy yourself, you're more likely to stay a member for a long time.
Yeah.
Where I just don't even understand the psychology. I understand the psychology of, all right, I'm going to pay $10 to Planet Fitness because it's they call it like the conscious fee or whatever, like the feel good about yourself fee. Like, oh no, I got a gym membership. Like, but you don't go. Like, how does that actually feel good?
Wait, you only go on Mondays.
Yeah, the pizza day. Yeah, the free pizza day. Which isn't the worst concept. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Yeah, it's just weird. It's just so weird to me that that's a very giant piece of the fitness industry.
No, I agree. And it's not the only thing that's built like that.
Supplements are built like that.
Yeah.
Right? You won't go to the gym. You won't even get off the couch. But you have a closet full of protein and collagen that you take once a month when you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Or like I've seen more videos on people on how many supplements they take. They're like, this is my bare bones, stack of supplements. The motherfucker's got 20 supplements in front of them. I'm like, dude, you probably smoke. You're ripping a vape. You're fucking staying up until 1 a.m. You're drinking alcohol. But good thing you got that fucking vitamin C pill.
Yeah. When the studies seem to show that multivitamins don't really do shit.
Yeah, absorption's rough.
Yeah. If you have a deficiency, taking an extra vitamin makes sense. If you do not have a deficiency, it doesn't do anything.
Well, and if you have the deficiency, maybe try to fix it in a nutritional way.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Your money probably, it is more expensive, but you grab a nutritionist to fill out a meal plan for you, you'd probably be better off.
Yeah, and I say that, and I actually take a multi every day.
Yeah, I take some supplements too. I take a vitamin D and a whatever, but like, I also fucking move my body, and I also eat a vegetable.
Yeah,
and I also calculated my protein every single day for fucking 20 years.
Right.
That's the difference. Where these other people, like, it is just like to help your brain.
Yeah, I mean, it's
shitty.
you're looking for magic from an unlikely source.
It's weird.
No, I agree. But I think about other services that hit you with extra fees, like telephones, internet,
DoorDash.
You
motherfuckers! I'm ordering a $10 sandwich, and you check out, and it's $55. You're like, where are these fees?
Yeah.
I hear Uber's the worst. Like, I've heard that rumor for a while, but then someone broke it down, and I don't know if it's true or not, but Twitter, they're like, oh, half an hour Uber ride, $40. And I thought they were just going to bitch about that, but then it's like, and the driver made like $8.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit. That is pretty bad.
I don't actually just shit on Uber, but I don't use Uber anymore at all unless I actually have no choice. I use Lyft. Just because it's like theoretically a little more ethical, and they
just pay better.
The cost, I think it pays better, and the cost is much more upfront to me.
Yeah,
than the extra shit that gets tagged on. We'll see. I don't know. It seems like there might be space for somebody else to come in with a little bit different business model in the
that robot car that's getting pulled over.
Did you actually see the article about that? There's a parking lot in San Francisco where they store them.
No, I'm sure though.
And
so I'm sure they're electric, right? So they gotta charge them every night.
Yeah, and there's this parking lot, and there are all these apartment buildings around it, and they start honking at each other at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
I've seen iRobot too many times.
They're literally just
yeah, they're communicating.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're dead.
It's like Skynet.
I seen Transformers and I seen iRobot, bruh. Yeah, Bumblebee's in one of them things.
It's scary.
There's
in its own way.
There's a crazy viral video of one getting pulled over from cops, and I think the cops come at it like it's crazy. Like, I don't know what it was doing.
It turned the wrong way on a one-way street.
Yeah, and then there's someone in the back seat like, I don't know what's going on. The cops are trying to talk.
Yeah, actually there were two of those. One of them there was a passenger, and there was one was no one in the car.
I saw the one
with
the passenger. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think
how are we gonna do that?
I think the passenger one may have been the one that wanted turn the wrong way on a one-way street.
Which, because they're probably based on maps. Like, when I first moved downtown, and I would read maps rather than just go by what I knew, I turned down I was getting coffee with Kyle. I turned down a one-way because my phone told me. My phone literally said turn right on whatever,
and you couldn't.
And it's a one-way, and so I was like, oh well, my phone told me. Like,
years ago, my wife accidentally turned the wrong way on a one-way street, and there was a visually impaired woman, with her cane, trying to cross the street, and she ran into the car, and she just cussed a blue streak at my wife, and she's like, I'm sorry. Yeah, but it's pretty easy to do down here. However, this is local insight. 5th Street over here, is they're converting it back to two-way.
That's why downtown's semi-confusing. Majority of us are numbers and letters in a row, and majority one way goes one, and it flip-flops.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, you'll get a two-way. And every once in a while, there's probably 2 one-ways going the same way, randomly. But and a lot of the horizontal letters are two-way, besides J and K. But then it switches. Yeah, it gets a little confusing. But once you're down here, you understand it. But what sucks is your phone is wrong. Like, all right, I get in an accident. Can I sue Google? Like, Google Maps literally said turn right.
Yeah, a little bit. I think you can.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, figure that fucking shit out. And if we have self-driving cars,
they're gonna go. They're not gonna. There's no like check.
Yeah,
right?
they're based on some satellite map, Google or Apple Maps.
Yeah, there isn't anybody there looking around to see if there's a sign that says one-way street or if there's.
Yeah, and I obviously I should have, but I'm just listening to this stupid thing. It says turn right at the next light. I'm like, all right, fuck
it. The thing that with the Waymo turned onto the one-way street is because there was construction, and it went to get around it, but it went the wrong way.
Sure. Yeah, it's taking its own little detours.
I don't know. I like the idea. I just don't think I like the actuality of the self-driving car that has no person driving it at all.
Well, to me, it's still just like an infrastructure issue. Like, how do we just not have trains still? Right? Like, like why we like skip the whole thing? That kind of doesn't make sense. Like, there's an answer, and it's worked in many cities and countries, and we just want to ignore that and kind of create a new answer.
Yeah, like if you go to New Orleans, I wish we still had a trolley system.
Yeah, or a good one.
Like New Orleans has. We did. They ran right outside this building.
Yeah.
And not there anymore since the 50s because of tire companies really.
Yeah, big auto. Big gas, big auto. Which I get, but yeah, I mean, and we are building a bunch of bullet trains, which is cool. There's I think 3 or 4 just on the West Coast that should be done in the next 4 years, which is pretty cool. But again, self-driving cars just seem, even if they're perfect, let's say hypothetically you flip a switch and it's perfect, like that doesn't get rid of traffic.
No,
because everyone's still got to go somewhere at 6 p.m.
Right,
but trains,
low occupancy vehicles.
Yeah. Bullet train literally does get rid of traffic.
Yeah, and so do light rail and trolleys
whatever
and all that kind of stuff. That subways and whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of silly.
I don't know if I said this previously on the show, but like rode a lot of subways in New York. They were all clean.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only done 1 or 2 out there, and I don't remember it being particularly bad. Where BART, which is the Bay Area Transit, can get a little bad. It's a little gross.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, I saw that they've retired the earliest BART trains, and they're putting them in like rail museums. They look very cool.
Yeah, they're fun, and it is convenient. There's just some sketchy characters and sketchy environments.
Yeah, and I think the reliability is a little bit of an issue.
I'm sure with the age.
Yeah. But anyway, so some of y'all are going to the gym all the time.
Yeah. They're about it, meatheads.
Bring a friend.
But I do wonder if that's like, again, Gen Z doing that to wrap it around to my rant on influencers. Like Gen Z doing that from 2021 to 2023 doesn't impress me, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like to be healthy and to like actually do that lifestyle, you have to do it every day for the rest of your life. Right? So these people just hopping into the gym and like, oh, I'm going to bodybuild. Mm-hmm. You know, that's literally a toddler trying to hop in and race Usain Bolt. Like you're going 0 to 100. Like how much we just like to lift weights, and then what can I do every day that I know I can do for the rest of my life, right? And like we've built business that way, and we've talked about other businesses in the world that maybe are more successful than us, but that's the 0.001%. A lot of businesses go out of business or have issues because they're trying to like sprint before they've walked. Yeah. Or if you set up your processes and your habits with the idea of actual sustainability, like what workload or what process can I do for the next 5 years, and then you're constantly reassessing that for the next 5 years, the next 5 years. Now you've built up 20 years of shit you can do. Whereas like if your only idea of fitness is starving yourself and stepping on stage, like no one's going to do that for their whole life.
Right.
It's impossible, literally impossible. And so, when these Zoomers are fucking 30, like what's the Zoomer tip right now? Probably 27? Probably the oldest Zoomer. You're probably dead middle Zoomer, I imagine.
I think I'm in the middle.
I bet the oldest Zoomer is probably like 27, 28. When they're late 30s and they've still been in the gym at this rate of this data, then I'll tip my hat to you, young Zs.
2 points somewhat in closing. One of them is just an observation. You see a lot of them in your what is that called? The suggestions.
Yeah.
You see a lot of them in the suggestions and whatever, and some of them are very young. Very
Zoomies?
Young. Yes.
Yeah.
And
people are like lifting in like high school, like bodybuilding style rather than like lifting for a sport.
Yeah, they're 22, 23 or whatever, and somebody asks them, and they look amazing, and they say, well, how long have you been lifting? 2 years, 2.5 years. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like
genetics.
Do you believe them?
I do. Like shout out my boy David Lade, who's absolutely dominated for so long, but I met David when he was probably like, maybe 20, maybe 21.
Like 20, 21.
Yeah, I met him a long time ago. And he might have been lifting since he was like 16, and like so was I. Like if you saw me when I was 16, you'd see that like I did something. I had some kind of delt compared to most 16-year-olds because I had lifted since 8th grade, but like actually trained, not really till I retired from basketball, like age 20, 19. And I think David was similar, where he like lifted, but did he really train? When I met him, he looked like Clark Kent. The kid's fucking 22, 6'4". 200 pounds, lean as shit. Mm-hmm. Some of it's definitely genetics. And then as that book that we were a part of wrote that got tossed to the side,
chapter closed.
It did teach more people. The amount of people that understand what a macronutrient is now on the internet or real life versus even 2015 is night and day. Like you had to explain step by step what the fuck a macronutrient was in 2016. Now, over 50% of America understand and know what it is.
They might have the wrong idea about it, but they at least understand what it from the basic concept. So the other point that was the question. The other point was sometimes I look at those folks and I look at who follows them and who they follow.
Yeah, I used to do that a lot.
And increasingly, they're not following anyone I fucking know.
Yeah, same. Yeah, back in the day, you'd kind of like niche people out by who they followed. And I'm like, all right, well, they kind of know who Omar is or they know whatever. Luckily, like some good voices have gotten more popular in this time as well as the bad. Like shout out to RP. They're obviously killing it. Mike Ishertel and my boy Jared. Like really smart guys, good dudes, been in business since early 20s, 2010s, and still taking big strides in educating the world properly. Mm-hmm. And they're one of the biggest, fitness YouTube groups to do it right now. So there are good sources people are learning for and giving them, Jeff Nippard's another one that, in my opinion, is like later in the YouTube game, although he's an OG to the kids now.
Yeah.
He started like a little bit after all of us, but Jeff's a smart dude with a lot of good resources and his YouTube's killing it. So there are good examples that reached up there that, again, made that process easier. On the same topic of like people lifting 2 years, and looking good or like hitting their goals or whatever. One, that's obviously a low percent, right? The genetically blessed and whatever. But I do wonder with all this Instagram success, YouTube success, money success. I don't know what the old wives' tale or the old wives' tale, but the saying is, but it's like something like easily acquired, you don't cherish as much.
Yeah.
Is the general, I know there's a fancy phrase for it, but I wonder if that plays a role in all this too. Like TikTok allows you to become rich and famous in 6 months. Like there's literally streamers, YouTubers that have gotten from literally like poverty or just normal to rich as shit and famous as shit. The Hawk Tuah girl, like she's definitely a psyop, beside the point. But like, how does that happen? And now, you know, she's a drunk chick on like a Nashville bar, and now she's got being designed for by Louis Vuitton on stage with the biggest celebrities.
Well,
that's literally overnight.
That's and
so like how hard can you work to maintain that? Probably can't.
You can't. No,
because you don't know what it took to get there.
It's the social media equivalent of a one-hit wonder band.
Maybe worse. Because at least a one-hit wonder,
you was actually good at some point.
You would say that one song is fucking good.
It's good. Yeah.
Like legitimately good. There's a couple that are, you know, whatever, but legitimately you caught attention.
Yeah.
A Hawk Tuah girl? Like what talent? No offense, ma'am. But there's no talent, right?
It's salivatory. You know what I'm saying?
It's so bad. Yeah, it's so bad. And so I wonder, even, you know, you scale that down to, whether it be internet success and money.
She's a loogie American.
She sucks, man. She sucks. I've seen some like
right, but she spits right before she sucks.
Yeah, she might swallow too. But I've seen a lot of like random interviews of her, and it's so bad.
I believe that.
You know, like it's so like you have no. Where you catch, you know, again, I'm you know, very biased, but you catch one of the OGs in an interview, you catch Guzman or Bart or Omar in an interview, and they're good. They're talented. They're well spoken. They're smart. They can jive. Like they can. Or I don't know if you grab some new YouTubers and shit like that. Shout out to some of the streamers that are doing it. You know, there's some young talent out there that I'll watch that I'm like, dude, these guys have, you know, they have something. They've made it for a reason. They have the get the gab, or they're funny, or they're light on their toes.
Without naming names, there's somebody who is still very popular, has been popular for quite some time, and all of this person, I'm not even going to go into gender. All of this person's early videos were so heavily edited that you almost couldn't watch them because there wasn't like a single sentence that ran all the way through. You know what I mean? Without an edit.
I don't even know who you're naming because I can already think of like 5.
Yeah. It's the top level of that one.
I know 3.
Okay.
There's 3 there's 5. There's a bunch, but and that's
it was a fake it till you make it situation because that person's better on camera now than they were then.
Right. But and that
very manufactured at the beginning though.
But that almost goes to my point. Like maybe it took them 5 or 10 years to get better and drive that success.
Yeah, so reps. Now,
right. And they stuck with those reps to at least get better. So shout out to those shitty content creators. But where now, whether it's genetics, looking good in the gym, you trained for a year, like how driven are you to continue to train?
Mm-hmm.
And then same with the content. You do 1 or 2 TikToks, you blow up making a sexual joke, and now what are you going to do? Like you don't have the content grind in you, and you don't have the repertoire of skills to edit or because even editing is a skill, you know? So, like, whoever's chopped up their shit. Yeah, I don't know. I am just a bit of a content purist. I think if you're a YouTuber, you should probably be able to sit down in any room with anyone and create content, you know? Obviously, podcasts is... And reps have helped me, for sure, but I honestly wasn't absolute trash to begin with either.
No,
you know?
you weren't. That's why it worked. That's why I said, hey, you want to do a podcast back in 2013.
And I was very lucky, too, where, you know, I went to art school and I've been in drama and I've taken drama classes, so I had an advantage for sure. But, again, going to Bart. But Bart, you know, and he's one of my best friends, so obviously I'm biased, but, like, he did that. Like, he was the Hawk Tuah girl, right? He made one funny Asian-American racist video that went viral, and then he's like, oh, this is something, and he started taking acting classes, and he went to stand-up comedy classes, and he, you know, like he put in the work to get somewhere. Where, like, shout out to Hawk Tuah if she does that, but like, what are the chances? You know, I just don't think the chances are there because she found that success, and now you're just gonna let it do whatever.
Yeah, that or she's, you know, she's gonna be sponsored by Does Gatorade gum still exist?
Yeah, Trojan condoms.
Trojan condoms.
All that.
Here we come.
Yeah, all that. It's bad. It's bad.
All right, that's all I got this time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. New episodes every Wednesday. 3rd Street Barbell, Sacramento, California. If you're in the area, stop by. Come say what's up. 3sb.co for all your apparel needs. And I'm Silent Mike. Where you want to find me?
I'm at the Jim McD on all the social media. The show is 50% Facts. What percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. 50% Facts is a Spreaker Prime podcast in association with iHeartMedia and on the Obscure Celebrity Network. And I got to pee again.